What's up, everybody? We are here to do an interview with a serial killer. He's not very well known. His name is Garland Milam. Garland. Garland Milam. Milam. And Garland Milam is his moniker is the Soul Sucker. He killed 2 people with the cooling off period, which is a serial killer. And he explains how he sucked the soul out of a person, felt it enter his body, and lost his bowel movements. It's a really crazy story. Garland Milam was raised in a very unstable upbringing, and he's going to talk to us about his life.
Unknown caller.
He's calling from a Tennessee correctional facility. He has life in prison.
This is a prepaid debit call from
Milam.
Garland Milam. Here we go.
An inmate at the Tennessee Department of Corrections, South Central Correctional Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, hang. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
All right, we are live with Garland Milam. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Garland Milam, you're a lot of people don't know who you are. You are not as recognizable as David Berkowitz or John Wayne Gacy, but you have an interesting story, and you have a very similar upbringing as a lot of these people who are convicted of these crimes, as you come from an unstable upbringing. So you were born in 1965. You're not too much age difference from me. We're both old. Did you know you're old, Garland?
Yeah.
You were, and you up in a kind of an unstable home, which is pretty common for people that are in your position. Tell me about your mother, drugs, and your story.
Okay. Well, my mother was half Cherokee. She was born in Oakland, Oklahoma. I'm sorry. She was Tulsa, Oklahoma. And anyway, she was a go-go dancer in the 60s. She was also a biker chick with the Hells Angels, and she drank a lot due to the fact that she had to have her breast removed due to cancer, and she introduced me to crystal meth because while I was in high school I had to get 2 part-time jobs and work and go to school at the same time, and I didn't have much time for sleep. And so she introduced me to crystal meth to try to give me enough energy to keep going.
How old were you when she introduced you to drugs?
I was 15, almost 16 years old.
Okay, so that's your upbringing, which is a little bit unstable, right? And
yeah.
So when do you move out and get on with your own life? How old are you?
Well, I was actually 18 when my mother was dying in front of my eyes of cancer, and I couldn't take it. Okay. Especially after being passed around like bad medicine from one family member to another. Yep. And the child abuse and everything, and it was crushing to me because even though my mother was, introduced me to drugs and everything, she was the only one that was my friend. She was your mother. And, yeah. Right. I mean, she was your mother. That's how you explain it, right? Yeah. So I can relate to that. Like, it's your family, right? Even though it's dysfunctional, it's like, but it's my mother, right? It's my father, whatever. Yeah. So did you not have a father? There's no father in the picture? No, it's my father. He separated from my mom, or divorced my mom when I was 2 years old. So no relationship with the father figure. When I was 12 years old, I got to spend a summer with him. Okay. How was that? Yeah, no, that was about it. How'd that go? Yeah, well, I was already a troubled teen by then, and lashing out and all that. Okay. I did some shoplifting and I was crying out for help, and he, he when he found out that I shoplifted, he had me take all the everything back to the stores, beat the shit out of me, and then took me back to my mother's.
Okay. So let's I want you to make this super brief, Garland. From the time you're 10, 15 years old till the time you're 40 years old, a lot takes place. Can you just as quickly summarize as what your life is like? You're a vagabond moving all over the country. Explain that real quick.
Yeah. After my mother died, I had nowhere to go. I went to the streets because my family, after shipping me around from family member like bad medicine, they just didn't want the responsibility to deal with me. So I wound up hooking up with carnivals, hitchhiking, and I came across a lot of rough situations in doing that. I was lost. I was kind of like a wandering soul, and I was told that after seeing a psychiatrist, after I got married one time, and I had an emotional breakdown when she wanted a divorce. It shattered my dreams, and I found out that I suffered from PTSD, and they said part of that was wandering soul syndrome, and that's when they also classified me as being schizoaffective.
So basically, you kind of lost hope, and somehow you ended up in Antioch, Tennessee, near Nashville, in 2005, and you're like 40 years old, and you're homeless, living in a tent near a strip mall.
I was behind. I was behind a Kroger grocery store.
Okay.
And a Chinese buffet and media play.
Yeah.
But I was receiving disability, Social Security disability as an income, but that only because I had to eat, food that was at restaurants, and sometimes I couldn't buy food that would last very long. So, a lot of this, it was expensive.
Right.
It's really more expensive to live homeless than it is to live in an apartment.
Right. Can't make your own food. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's weird that the police reported that your camp and you were very well kept, like it was very neat and clean. Is that true?
Yeah. I had a gravity shower that I purchased at Walmart. I had a 4-man dome tent. I had a couch. I had a rake, a flathead shovel. I burned all my trash, and I took my metal and threw it in the dumpster. Cans, aluminum cans, and all that.
How did you get your income? Were you panhandling then?
Well, when my Social Security would run out after 3 weeks, I used to go to the Kroger and panhandle.
So you had like a bank account and stuff?
Yeah, I did. I had direct deposit.
Wow. And so you would go panhandle for a week for extra money. Did you make money?
Yeah.
Like how much would you make how much would you make in a week?
In a week's time, I would probably generate another $200 or so.
Okay, so
I wasn't greedy, I just panhandled for what I needed and would leave the parking lot of the store after I made a purchase and go back to my camp.
Did you ever buy Chinese food? Did you ever buy Chinese food takeout?
No, I went to the buffet. When my check hit, it hit my account twice a month.
Yep.
I got 2 checks, like one on the 1st, one on the 15th. And as soon as that hit, I would go to the buffet and I had a shoulder strap a shoulder bag.
Right.
And I lined it with plastic.
Right.
And I would go in there with a book, like I'm reading a book while I'm eating. And I would do the all you can eat. Okay. And as soon as the waitresses would leave the area, I would dump my tray into my satchel. And my shoulder bag. And I carried all kinds of Saskatchewan chicken and everything back to camp.
So you would like go there and have lunch, and you would have dinner that night?
Yeah.
Okay. So life is tough, life is rough, and you end up where now you are committing homicide. You killed 2 people. Your victims are 2 males, and Tim McCoy and John Paul Davis, which you call JD. So walk me through the first homicide of Tim McCoy. How does that happen?
Okay. Tim, I got to know him. He would wander through my camp with a couple of 12 packs of beer and a bottle of vodka, and we would drink Boilermakers, and he would after he got a buzz and got drunk, then he would start spouting the Bible at me, and that hit a trigger, a past memory where my aunt abused me, all in the name of God, to try to beat the demon out of me, because I was a gifted child. I dreamt of flying one day or one night, and I believed it so powerfully that I was actually levitating above my bed when my aunt came in, turned the light on, and woke me up. I fell from the ceiling to my bed, and then she started. That was pretty much when most of the abuse started. She would beat the hell out of me and say that my mother was a demon, the devil's bitch, and that I was the son of a whore, and that I was demon seed. So when he came to my camp and started spouting the Bible, it irked me.
Okay.
And,
so that pissed you off.
But it did, but I let that slide. The only time that I'm in the back of my mind, I really wanted to kill him then, but I let it slide. I tried to get over that thought.
But there's kind of a talk like you've had this desire to kill for many years. Is that true? I
had, it's hard to explain. It was more of a curiosity of what it would be like. After watching war movies, everybody in my family was military, and I couldn't make it in the military, but I always wondered what it would be like.
So you thought about that for how old were you when you first thought about what would it be like to kill someone? Do you remember how old you were?
Yeah, I was 9 years old.
Wow. So since 9 years old to 40, you thought about this. So now something happened with this Tim McCoy you and I've talked about really set you off. What happened with him?
I sent my girlfriend, her name was, she told me her name was Cindy Lawler, Cynthia Lawler.
Yeah.
And the detective of the case could not find such a name, so I think she gave me a fake name. Anyway, she lived with me for about 6 months in my tent. We met, we fell in love. When I sent her with my bank card to go get groceries, she was gone all day and into the evening. And she came back at dusk, and her hair was kind of disheveled, and when I asked her, what took so long, she snapped at me. We had an argument, and I was already drunk, and I just I had to go, for myself, question, and find out what was going on. So I had a gut feeling that she was over at Tim's camp, and so I went to Tim's camp, and he was passed out, and I seen there was a thong that I had purchased my
a pair of underwear.
Yeah, zebra stripe thong, and she had never even wore it for me, and it was sticking out from underneath his air mat, and I went back to my camp, and I told her, I said, I've got my knife out. I whipped it out. I get your shit and get out of my camp before I slice your throat. So she left out, and it was starting to rain, and she cussed me and everything. And then I kept drinking, trying to cool down a little bit, but I couldn't. In my mind, I kept hearing these words saying, "Be the vehicle of my vengeance," and then I proceeded to go into Tim's camp, and like hypnotically, like I wasn't even in control, and I kicked Tim in the head. I woke him up, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Wake up! It's time to die." And I took my belt off. And he says, "You're playing again." I said, "No, I'm serious." And I made a noose out of it, put it around his throat, put my knee in his back, and pulled so hard that blood came from his eyeballs.
So your nickname is the Soul Sucker. Did you suck his soul out, or is that the next victim?
No, actually, when I released the belt off his neck, he started to the air in his lungs was starting to escape, and I had always believed that the soul left the body on the last breath. It exited on the air and so I inhaled through my nose. I held my nose up to his mouth and inhaled his last breath.
Even the first victim?
Yes.
Wow. Did you feel anything?
Huh?
Did you feel anything in the first victim?
Yeah, it knocked me off my ass, and I hit the ground, and I defecated on myself. I was tingling, like my skin was on like electrical tingles. Definitely, I think his soul went through me.
So that was victim number one. You had killed him. What did you do with his body? What'd you do with his body?
Victim number two, I did the same thing.
What'd you do with his body? What'd you do with Tim's body?
Tim, I burned him up, made it look like an accident, like he was cooking in his tent.
So you didn't get arrested right away for that murder. You got away with that one.
Yeah.
How long after Tim's murder did you kill your next victim?
The very next day.
Okay, so it's 1 and 2 next day. Okay, so what happens the next day? With the victim named JD,
Huh?
which JD, Johnny Paul Davis,
Yeah,
JD.
Yeah. Well, JD, I went to Kroger to get my early morning coffee like I usually do, and I seen him out there staggering, going from person to person. Give me $1, give me $1, and just being really rude.
Okay.
And the Kroger people respected me, and oftentimes, like during Christmas and Thanksgiving, they'd see me out there panhandling, and the manager of the store had actually bought me groceries. Okay. Because she liked me.
Okay.
And when I seen him out there running my spot hot, I knew that I had to do something.
So he was messing things up for you. He was messing things up, being unprofessional.
Yeah, he was. And then when I went to talk to him to ask him what he needed, I would buy it for him if he would just leave. But the manager saw me talking to him, and people had already complained about him.
Okay.
And so the manager assumed that he and I were together.
Okay.
And she banned both of us from the store. And I said, "Whoa, wait a minute." I said, "Let me make one more purchase, and then I promise I will never come in here again." And she said, "Okay." But from now on, she said, if you come on the property again, you'll be trespassing.
Oh.
And yeah. And so I told dude, I said, go over there by the liquor store and wait for me. I said, I'm gonna come in here and buy groceries. I said, I'll take you out to my camp. We'll party. Just leave people alone.
Right.
Go and wait.
Wow.
And so I did. I bought groceries. I took him to my camp, and I gave him. I was making it his last meal.
Okay.
that was my thought going through the grocery store. I bought pork chops. And then I bought a macaroni and cheese and shit. And then I went to the liquor store where I told them to wait. I went in there with my bank card and bought the most expensive Jack Daniel's bottle there was, the old number 7 black label glass bottle.
Yeah.
And I took that, and I said, hey, I've got my stuff in a cart here. I said, just hang on to the cart. He was staggering already.
Yeah.
And I said, hang on to the cart. We'll push it up to my camp. Mm-hmm. I said, I'll lead you into my camp, and basically I cooked for him. I let him take a shower in my camp. I gave him about $100 worth of clothes.
Wow.
Like dressing him for his funeral.
Yeah.
I was dressing him for his funeral. I gave him brand new Levi's. I gave him brand new boots. Let him have a flannel shirt, T-shirt, a new hat.
So what happens? What happens in the end with him?
Well, when I passed him the bottle, after we ate everything, I told him, I said, crack it and pass it back. Mm-hmm. He cracked it and guzzled it, drank it down until it was completely empty, and threw the glass bottle at me, hit me in the head with it, and said, get your bitch ass up and go and get me another one. I said, do you even know who you're talking to? I said, you're going to tell me what now? I said, man, you just disrespected me big time. Mm-hmm. I said, did you hear anything about the guy that got burned up in his camp over there? He goes, I heard something, and I don't know who did it. I said, would you like to know? And he goes, well, I'm kind of curious. And I said, I did it. And he goes, why'd you tell me that? I said, because now I have to kill you. I said, I don't like the fact that you're breathing my air. Mm-hmm. And then I told him I was going to make a game of it. I said, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to get out of my camp. If you don't make it out in 5 minutes, you're history. Mm-hmm. Well, he was so drunk he couldn't make it out in 5 minutes, and I took a dog leash and a chain dog leash, and I strangled him.
And what did you do with this body when you were done with him?
I dragged him around the camp, playing like I was dragging a gunny sack, smacking him against the trees, and
wow.
Then I laid him up against on the couch, and I sat down, lit a cigarette, and was cussing at him, saying, "Look what the fuck you made me do." Mm-hmm. And then I let him stay there overnight on the couch, and then in the morning I put him over in the trash pile and covered him up, and then I went and turned myself in because I saw their spirits.
Wow!
In the morning fog.
So explain what it's like to suck someone's soul out. Tell me how that goes. You're killing him, and what happens?
Well, after their final breath starts to leave the body, I inhaled that, mm-hmm. and at first it was a rush, but on the second one I didn't feel nothing.
Really? Why turn yourself in? Why not just keep living life and hope you don't get arrested?
I turned myself in because, like I said, I saw their spirits in the fog, mm-hmm. and I had the overwhelming impression that if I didn't turn myself in, that those spirits would haunt me for the rest of my days.
Wow. And are you remorseful for your crimes?
Well, obviously I was, because I turned myself in. I know that what I did was wrong. There's many other ways that I could have handled it. I could have, if I could reverse time and go back, I would mm-hmm. change everything.
Right. You would change it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Garland, thank you so much for talking to us, and we appreciate your time, and we will talk to you again.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right, brother. Thank you.